Have you ever wondered what's actually going on inside one of those buzzing beehives? It's not just chaos in there. It's more like a complex, humming city, a real superorganism. And just like any city, it needs a regular health checkup. So today we're going to crack open the hive and learn the art and the science of a beehive inspection. It's an absolutely essential skill for any beekeeper.
So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with the why, the whole purpose of an inspection. Then we'll figure out the perfect time to do it. After that, we'll get to know the beekeeper's most important tool. And then we'll walk through the inspection itself, step by step. And finally, we'll learn how to close everything back up with as little fuss as possible.
Okay, so you might be thinking, hang on, why on earth would I want to poke around in a box with thousands of stinging insects? And you know what? That is a totally fair question. The answer really gets to the heart of what it means to be a responsible beekeeper. And the answer is pretty simple. It's a health check. Think of it that way. A regular, careful peek inside the hive gives you a complete picture of how the colony is doing. It lets you support them, and more importantly, solve problems before they get really, really bad. So, what exactly are you looking for? What are the vital signs of a healthy hive? Well, you're checking on the queen, looking for proof that she's healthy and laying eggs. You're taking a look at their pantry. Do they have enough honey and pollen to get by? You're also playing detective, searching for any early signs of disease or pests. And this one is huge. You're looking for queen cells. These are big, peanut-shaped cells that tell you something major is about to happen, like maybe they're getting ready to swarm. It's all about reading the clues. So you know why you need to get in there, but just as important is when you do it. Seriously, getting the timing right can be the difference between a calm, easy inspection and a full-on bee riot. The absolute perfect time for an inspection, a warm, sunny day, right around midday, let's say between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Why then? Well, it's because the hive's main security detail, the older, more defensive forager bees, are all out working, collecting nectar. That leaves a younger, much calmer crew at home, which makes your job a whole lot easier and their day a lot less stressful.
And how often should you be doing this? Well, during the busy season, a pretty good rule of thumb is to inspect every 7 to 10 days. That's often enough to catch any problems early, but not so often that you're constantly bothering them. Of course, in the colder months, like winter, you'll stretch that out way longer.
All right, before we even think about opening the hive, we have to talk about the beekeeper's most trusted tool, the smoker. Now, this isn't about hurting the bees at all. It's actually a way to communicate with them, to create a calm, safe environment for everyone involved, you included.
So how does this simple little thing work its magic? It's all based on some really fascinating bee biology. See, when a bee gets stressed, it releases an alarm pheromone. It's a chemical signal that actually smells a bit like bananas, and it puts the whole colony on red alert. What the smoke does is it masks that signal, so the panic can't spread. It also triggers a deep, ancient instinct in the bees to fill up on honey, just in case they have to flee a fire. And trust me, a bee with a full belly is a very, very mellow bee.
And what do you actually burn in it? The trick is to use natural, dry stuff that makes a nice, cool, thick smoke. Simple things work great. Dried pine needles, bits of untreated burlap, even torn-up cardboard. Now, using the smoker is really an art of being gentle. First, you give a few soft puffs right at the entrance. That's like a polite knock on the door for the guard bees. Then, after you crack open the lid, you send another light puff across the top of the frames. After that, you use it sparingly. Maybe just a little puff here and there if you hear the buzzing get a little louder. Remember, the goal is communication, not fumigation. Okay, the smoker's lit, the time is right. Let's go inside the hive. This is where the real detective work begins. This is the fun part. So as you lift out each frame, you're basically reading a story. Do you see tiny little specks that look like grains of rice standing up in the cells? If you do, that's awesome. It tells you the queen was right there laying eggs in the last 3 days. Can you see the little milky white C-shaped larvae? And what about the brood pattern? A strong queen leaves this beautiful solid pattern of capped cells, almost like a perfect cobblestone street with very few gaps. If it looks spotty, that could be an early warning sign. Now here is a critical, golden rule for handling these frames. It's something every single beekeeper needs to live by. You have got to try to keep them in a vertical position at all times. And why is that so important? Well, because those tiny little eggs and those delicate young larvae, they aren't glued in there. They're just gently resting inside their wax cells. If you tip the frame flat, gravity can literally cause them to fall out. And just like that, you've lost the next generation of bees.
So be gentle, be slow, and be mindful.
So let's quickly break down what you're seeing in that brood nest. On one hand, you've got what's called open brood. Those are the uncapped cells with the eggs and the larvae in them. Seeing them confirms your queen is on the job and laying eggs. On the other hand, you have sealed or capped brood. These are the cells that have a little wax cap on top where the pupae are busy transforming into adult bees. A really healthy hive is going to have a good mix of both, and that gives you a perfect snapshot of the colony's growth cycle.
Okay, you've finished your inspection. You've read the hive's story for the week. Now it's time to close up shop. And believe me, this part is just as important as the inspection itself. You've got to do it right.
The closing procedure is simple, but you have to be precise. You need to return every single frame to its original spot, in the original order. See, bees are master architects. They have a very specific layout for their nursery, their pantry, their honey storage, everything. If you scramble that layout, it causes a huge amount of stress. So put everything back exactly how you found it, secure the covers, and just let them get back to their business.
You know, as a beekeeper, you figure out pretty quickly that you're not just managing a colony. You're more like a partner. You're there to observe, to understand, and to gently support the bees, helping them do what they do best. It really is a relationship built on trust and respect. And honestly, it's one of the best parts of beekeeping.
And if there's just one idea I can leave you with, it's this one. In beekeeping, efficiency is kindness. The faster and more organized you can be, the less stress you're putting on the hive. Every single minute that hive is open is a disruption for them. So a well-practiced, calm, deliberate inspection is just better for everyone. Beekeeping really is this fascinating window into the natural world. It kind of forces you to think about our role in all of it. You know, when do we step in and help, and when do we just step back and let nature take its course? It's a question every beekeeper asks themselves, and as you learn more, it's probably one you'll start asking yourself too.